What's up and welcome back to another video. I'm Mary and this one's going to be a little bit different because today I will be checking out a couple of different dynamic microphones to find out which one is the right fit for me. Now I've been using this Aston Origin large diaphragm condenser mic for many years now as my microphone for everything. I've used it to record YouTube videos but also for Zoom calls and Discord and TeamSpeak, gaming, live streaming sometimes, and also to record vocals for music. And it's a great microphone. But I've been curious about going with a dynamic microphone for quite some time now to maybe pick up less of room noise and reverb and that kind of thing. So I ordered a couple of different dynamic microphones to try them out and compare them against each other and see how I like them and if there's a microphone that is perfect for me. And the first mic I will be checking out today is the Shure SM58. Now this one doesn't really need any introduction. If you know anything about mics, you know what this is. This is easily one of the most well-known and most commonly used mics around the world. It's a dynamic mic, about $100, and I've had one lying around. You can see it's already pretty beat up. But yeah, it's not really fitting the vibe that I'm going for, as this is more of like a stage mic, a handheld mic, and not a broadcast mic. But since I had it lying around, I thought I'd just include it in the test and see how it compares against the other options. And the second microphone in this test doesn't need any introduction either, because it's none other than the Shure SM7B. Now, even if you don't know anything about microphones, you will know this mic because you've seen it with your favorite live streamer, YouTuber, podcaster, whatever. Everyone is using these mics, and there's got to be a reason for it, so I decided to check it out. Now, this cost me 389 euros, and this makes it the most expensive mic in the test, but maybe it's worth it. We'll check it out. And the third microphone in this test is yet another Shure microphone because it's the MV7X. Now, this is basically the SM7B's little brother. For only 169 euros, it promises to be a broadcast dynamic mic that can hopefully kind of compete against the SM7B a little bit. And it's the XLR only version. There's also the MV7, which is more expensive and is a USB mic, but this is XLR only. And yeah, the main reason I picked this up is because I thought it sounded fine in online comparisons I watched, and it's cheap. So we'll see if it, can hold up to the more expensive mics. And the last microphone in the test is the SE Dynacaster DCM8. Now this sits at 245 euros, so it's right between the MV7X and the SM7B. And I picked this because in online comparisons I thought it sounded great and actually sometimes indistinguishable from the SM7B. And it's also a very versatile and feature-rich microphone as it comes with little dip switches in the bottom where you can kind of shape the sound with a bass cut or bass boost, as well as two different options of top boost. And it also comes with a built-in preamp, something like a cloud lifter or fathead straight built into the mic, gives you a 30 dB boost if your preamp needs a little bit of help. So a great little microphone. It's also a little bit more low profile, a little bit more gets out of your way and less obtrusive on your field of view. And I think it looks kind of cool with the red foam and everything. So yeah, I'm very excited to check this out and see how it performs, and we'll find out soon enough. And one question that could come up is, why didn't I choose the Electro-Voice RE20 for this comparison as well? Since that is next to the SM7B probably the other extremely popular and kind of standard microphone for broadcasting, podcasting, streaming, that kind of stuff. And the simple answer is pricing. Because, yeah, if you are in the US and you look at something like Sweetwater, sure, the SM7B is $399 and then the RE20 is $449. So it's only a $50 difference and they are pretty close to each other and definitely like competitors. But here in Europe, or more specifically Germany where I am, the SM7B is $389 and the RE20 would be $609. So massive price difference, and yeah, the RE20 just was plain out of my budget. And so what we're going to do today is, first of all, I'm going to record a few sound samples with each of these mics and also using a couple of the different EQ settings on the SM7B and DCM8. And then we'll do a little blind test where you can listen to each mic and then you can tell me in the comments which one you think sounds best. And then I will reveal which mic is which. And then after that, we're going to do a couple of tests where we see how much background noise these mics can reject, as well as how they deal with vibrations coming from the desk and how they deal with plosive sounds. And then in the end, I will give my thoughts on these mics and reveal which one, I think might be the right one for me. So now we'll head into the blind test, and I just want to quickly mention that each of the samples is recorded with the mic going straight into my Audient ID14 Mark II, and I tried to match the gain as close as possible so that I get the same kind of output from every mic. Once there was an ugly barnacle. He was so ugly that everyone died. The end. Once there was an ugly barnacle. He was so ugly that everyone died. The end. Once there was an ugly barnacle, and he was so ugly that everyone died. The end. Once there was an ugly barnacle. He was so ugly that everyone died. The end. Once there was an ugly barnacle. He was so ugly that everyone died. The end. Once there was an ugly barnacle. He was so ugly that everyone died. The end. Once there was an ugly barnacle. He was so ugly that everyone died. The end. Once there was an ugly barnacle. He was so ugly that everyone died. The end. Once there was an ugly barnacle. He was so ugly that everyone died. The end. Once there was an ugly barnacle. He was so ugly that everyone died. The end. Now, this is the part where I want you to pause the video and write in the comments your thoughts on these samples. Could you hear any big differences at all? Which one did you think sounded best? I'm very curious to hear your opinions. And now we will continue on to the reveal of the microphones. Okay, this is the Shure MV7X. Once there was an ugly barnacle. He was so ugly that everyone died. The end. On the Shure MV7X. This is the DCM8 with the top boost and bass boost enabled. Once there was an ugly barnacle. He was so ugly that everyone died. The end. On the DCM8 with the bass boost and the mild top boost enabled. Okay, this is the SM58. Once there was an ugly barnacle, and he was so ugly that everyone died. The end. On the SM58. So this is my Aston microphone's origin. Once there was an ugly barnacle. He was so ugly that everyone died. The end. On the Aston Origin. So this is the Shure SM7B. Once there was an ugly barnacle. He was so ugly that everyone died. The end. On the SM7B. This is the DCM8 with the bass boost enabled and the top set to flat. Once there was an ugly barnacle. He was so ugly that everyone died. The end. On the DCM8 with bass boost enabled and top set to flat. Once there was an ugly barnacle. He was so ugly that everyone died. The end. On the MV7X with the pop filter from the SM7B. This is the SE Dynacaster DCM8 with the small top boost enabled. Once there was an ugly barnacle. He was so ugly that everyone died. The end. On the DCM8 with the mild top boost enabled. This is the SE Dynacaster DCM8 in the flat EQ position. Once there was an ugly barnacle. He was so ugly that everyone died. The end. On the DCM8 with flat EQ settings. This is the SM7B with the top boost enabled. Once there was an ugly barnacle. He was so ugly that everyone died. The end. On the SM7B with top boost enabled. And now we will be going over a few tests with each mic, ranging from how it deals with vibrations from the desk and the mic arm, to how well it rejects background noise, and finally, how well it deals with plosives. Now we're going to do a little bit of a tapping test. I'm just tapping on my desk to see how much of that noise is being picked up. And now I'll do a little bit of a handling test, just moving the mic back and forth. Next, I'm going to tap on the microphone arm. Now I'm going to tap a little bit around on my desk to see how much of that noise gets picked up. And now I'm going to grab the mic and do a little bit of a handling test to see how sensitive it is to that. And now I'm going to tap around a little bit on the microphone arm. And now I'm going to tap a little bit around on my desk to see how much of that noise is being picked up by the mic. And now I'm going to do a little handling test where I grab the mic and move it around. Okay, and now I'm going to tap the microphone arm a bit. Now I'm going to tap around a little bit on my desk to see how much of that vibration gets picked up. And now a little bit of handling noise test. Okay, and now we'll tap the microphone arm. Now, tapping around on my desk. Now a little bit of grabbing the mic and moving it around. Tapping on the microphone arm. And now we're going to do a little background noise test with a little typing test on my mechanical keyboard. And we're going to do a little bit turning on of my AC unit to see how much of that noise is being picked up that is over that side of the room. And now I'm going to do a little typing test on my mechanical keyboard to see how it deals with background noise. And now I'm going to turn on the AC on the other side of my room real quick to see how much of that is being picked up. Okay, now for a little background noise test, I'm going to type on my mechanical keyboard. And now I'm going to turn on the AC unit on the other end of my room and see how much of that gets picked up from the mic. Now for a little bit of background noise test, I'm going to type on my mechanical keyboard. Now I'm going to do a little bit of a typing test to see how well it rejects background noise. And now I will turn on the AC on the other side of my room to see how much of that gets picked up. And for the last test, I'm going to read out a few plosive words that tend to focus on producing plosives, and then we'll see how well this microphone does with plosives. So plosive, pizza, please, piper, penny, plosive. Okay. Finally, I'm going to read some plosives that tend to provoke plosives in the microphone to see how this microphone deals with plosives. Plosive, please, piper, pizza, pronto, penny. Please, piper, pizza, pronto, penny. And lastly, we'll do a plosive test where I say a bunch of words that provoke plosives to see how well this mic deals with plosives. Plosives, piper, penny, pizza, please, plosive, penny, pizza, piper. Okay. And now I'm gonna read a few plosive words that tend to provoke plosives to see how well this microphone does with plosives. So, plosive, please, pizza, piper, penny, pronto, please, piper, pizza, plosive. Alright, that does it. And lastly, I will read out a few plosives to see how well this microphone deals with plosives when I don't use an extra pop filter in front of it. Plosive, piper, pop, please, pizza, pronto, please, piper, pop. Okay. So, now you've heard all the sample files that I recorded, and I will be sharing my thoughts on these results and what I think about these mics. And we'll start off with the SM58. Now, for $100, this is a good sounding mic. I mean, there's no doubt about that, and there's a reason why these are everywhere. But as I've said, this doesn't really fit the whole aesthetic that I kind of want to go for on camera and stuff. So that's why I'm not picking that. Also, I think it didn't do particularly well in the plosive tests, though as I've mentioned in the beginning, this isn't the original cage, so that might have some impact on that. And in terms of sound, yeah, again, I said it was good, but I also think there were better sounding mics in this test. And next, we're going to talk about the Aston Origin, the large diaphragm condenser mic that I have been using so far. And honestly, this is still a good sounding mic. It's still a great mic, honestly, but predictably it did pick up the most background noise in my room, and also it did pick up the most reverb and room sound in general. And it also doesn't do particularly well with plosives. Compared to other large diaphragm condensers, this actually has an advantage in that it has kind of a pop filter built into the cage. But still, ideally you would still use it with an additional pop filter in front of it, which I don't want to do. So this is why I want to switch to dynamic mics in the first place. Next, we'll talk about the MV7X. And, for $169, I think this sounds good. Great even. It's definitely a little bit of a brighter sounding mic compared to the SM7B or the DCM8. And I would say that I prefer a little bit of that darker, smoother, rounder sound that these other mics have. But again, for the money, this sounds great. I think I would be, if I didn't check out these other mics, I would be perfectly happy with how this sounds for sure. Pun intended. And yeah. Now, in the handling noise test and vibration, this didn't do particularly well, especially the tapping on the microphone arm was pretty bad on this. Now, it's debatable how realistic of a scenario that is, tapping on your arm and stuff, but yeah, it didn't do particularly great in that test. With the plosives, it actually did okay, even though I've heard a lot of times online that it doesn't do this too well, and that is why I tried putting the SM7B pop filter on that, because that is like a little trick to get around that. But honestly, I think it wasn't that bad anyway. But yeah, as I said, not my favorite mic in this lineup. But for the money, honestly, a great pick still. Next, we'll go to the SM7B. And honestly, it sounds great. This really does sound great. It did do well in the handling noise and vibration test. Now, in terms of the background noise test, surprisingly, I didn't expect this, but this actually picked up a little bit more of the background noise, like the keyboard and my AC, than these other mics. Not that I think that would be a deal breaker or that it was particularly bad, but it did a little bit. It picked up a little bit more background noise than the other dynamic mics. But yeah, great microphone. I mean, there's a reason everyone uses this. It also looks great, feels great. It's very well built. I mean, it's an SM7B. What more can I say? And lastly, the microphone that's currently on my arm. the Dynacaster DCM8. Now, in terms of sound, again, there's a lot of flexibility with this mic, but I think especially with the bass boost enabled and the top flat, or the bass boost and the top boost, I think this starts to sound extremely close to the SM7B. And I mean, it sounds great. I love how this sounds. I think it's really cool. In terms of, again, looks, I'm a big fan of how slim this package is on the arm. I think it looks great. It is very well built as well. Like, it definitely feels good. The only minor thing about the build of this mic is that this screw here to adjust the angle is a little bit hard to get at because of this little space here. But that's really the only thing. Other than that, it's a very, very well designed and built mic. It looks great. It sounds great. It's very flexible, and I love it. In terms of handling noise, maybe a little bit worse than the SM7B, especially on vibrations. The vibration noise that it picks up has a little bit more low end to it. It's a little more boomy, but it's not that bad. Like, it's not a deal breaker. In terms of the background noise, as I've said, I actually tended to pick up a little bit less than the SM7B in my experience. And overall, I'm very happy with this mic, and not to mention that this saves me 140 euros, 144 euros over the SM7B, since this is 245 and the SM7B is 389. So I guess you probably see where I'm going with this. This is the mic that I think is right for me. I love how this mic looks. I love how this mic feels. I love how this mic sounds. And I love that it's 144 bucks cheaper than the SM7B. So yeah, that is my opinion. And now please let me know what you think in the comments below. Which mic is your favorite? Which mic did you not like at all, maybe? And yeah, just what did you think about the results or the samples that I provided in this video? So yeah, please share your thoughts in the comments below. This was a very interesting video for me to make. I mean, I did make it because I genuinely wanted to know how these mics compare and which one I want to keep and which ones I want to send back. And I got the results that I wanted, I guess. And yeah, see you next time. Bye bye.